Ryan Poles' second chance to land star defensive tackle that he had his eye on 2 years ago in free agency. With the open market just around the corner, and while most of the media focuses on players that aren't even available or guys that make no sense, I've been digging deep to try to find potential difference makers and sleepers that Ryan Poles could target in this year's open market. One player I really have not heard people mention at all in this year's free agent class is former Eagles defensive tackle Javon Hargrave, a player that Ryan Poles targeted hard 2 years ago, but he chose to sign in San Francisco with the 49ers. I left him off my top free agent list, but he's a guy who has the talent to be in the top three. Hargrave made his second career Pro Bowl in 2023, 1 year later, and now reports are the 49ers are going to release him before free agency, designating him as a post June 1st cut. They actually had to restructure his contract just in order to be able to cut him. But now, 2 years after signing a 4 year, $84 million deal, one of the biggest in free agency that season, Hargrave is going to be back on the open market again, this time expecting to sign for much, much less money. A couple of reasons why. One, he's still collecting a check from the 49ers. Two, he's coming off an injury. On top of that, he's also 2 years older and recovering from a torn tricep. Hargrave is now 32 years old and coming back from an injury, and for those reasons, he's expected to sign for much less than he did in 2023. But he was a Pro Bowler that year and pretty much has been one of the best D tackles in the NFL the last 3 seasons he was healthy. 7 sacks in 2023, 11 in 2022, and 7.5 in 2021. I honestly don't believe anybody likes signing injured players, but there's a good chance that Hargrave is going to be healthy well before training camp. He was injured in week 3 of the season, and he's already had nearly 5 months to recover. So by the time we get to mini camps in May, I expect Hargrave would be a full go. The biggest question then becomes, does that mean he waits until after the NFL draft to sign a contract? Again, I'm never a huge fan of going after players over the age of 30 in free agency, but I believe this season is different. We need to add a few veterans to this roster. We already have a young team, and adding guys on value contracts can really help turn this roster around. We already have a ton of young players and a lot of draft capital this season as well. So having some veterans to set the tone and stabilize this roster, especially in the trenches, could go a long way towards helping the Bears win football games again. And honestly, that's the ultimate goal here. But you have to think logically here. This isn't the same Bears roster. Usually, my whole life, we've had old, overpaid rosters. The Bears don't have any old, overpaid guys right now. Look over this entire roster, and who are the guys you look at and say they're old or overpaid? Other than maybe Tremaine Edmonds, who's just 26, so he's definitely not old, but some people consider him overpaid, but we can get out of his contract next season as well. So even that one's not one that really hurt us. Ryan Poles in the front office has managed a salary cap better than any GM I've seen in my life for the Bears. And the roster is also one of the youngest in the NFL right now. That's multiple reasons why adding a couple of veterans, especially guys who have been to the Pro Bowl in the last 2 years, make a ton of sense. I've already talked about potentially adding a guard like Pro Bowler Kevin Zeitler, and I think Javon Hargrave makes a lot of sense for the same reasons. If healthy, he would instantly upgrade this defensive line at just a fraction of what it would have cost to get him 2 years ago. On top of that, the last 2 years he was healthy, he led his defense to the Super Bowl. So to me, this is a guy worth taking a chance on, especially if the price is right. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this year's free agent class. Please remember to hit that like button for me. Stay tuned. I have a ton more off-season content on the way. And until next time, bear down.